Football
is a simple game.
22 men chase a ball
For 90 minutes, and at the end,
the Germans don't even make the round of 16. Come on! Whew. Let's get to it. Hi, I'm Chris Harrington from Kickoff Life. Well, the group stages in Russia's World Cup are over, and we are headed to the round of 16. You know this guy, Oli Moody.
who are the biggest players? What are the biggest stories? Who's going to fall flat, and who's going to shock the world?
He's in Russia right now. He made a lot of predictions for the group stages, and they were pretty good. So I'm going to call him, and we're going to talk about those predictions as well as the predictions moving forward. So let's get right to it, and let's call him. Ring, 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 ring. Hey, Oli, how are you?
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Yeah, not too bad.
Good. So you have these awesome videos. You've predicted all of the group stages, the way they would play out, you know, the strong teams, the dark horses, and so forth. So let's just address the big elephant in the room. Germany, Group F. Clearly, they got an F, finished bottom of the barrel. What the hell happened?
What the hell did happen to Germany, Chris? Honestly, I think a lot of people are searching for the answer for that question at the moment. But I think what it comes down to is that the players didn't show up at any point in the tournament. The attitude didn't seem right. The atmosphere in the squad didn't seem right. Everything just, it didn't come together at all. And, you know, you've got to ask why that is, what's wrong with the players, with their mentality that didn't happen, what's wrong with the coach, why didn't he succeed at getting them together? But, you know, this is what's great about football, right? You know, you can put as much effort as you like into all your predictions and reason and logic and thought and research. At the end of the day, you get Germany performing like that, and you get South Korea and Mexico pulling off the big results over them, and everything else just goes out the window.
And then the curse. I mean, we can't ignore the curse. You know, Germany, you know, fulfilling this prophecy, right? Everyone was speculating, will they become the third straight team? It always seems to happen to European teams after they win the cup, the following booted out the group. Is the curse real?
It looks like it, doesn't it? I mean, it's crazy, but maybe that is part of this arrogance, you know? They go into the tournament as the World Cup champions, and they think they're just going to stroll over everyone. They've had 4 years of being called world champions, Weltmeister, and all this, and, you know, they had the film after the 2014 World Cup, Die Mannschaft, and all this, and so maybe that victory has sort of fed into this arrogance, and maybe that's partly what's caused the problems this time around.
And then clearly South Korea, you know, snatched the soul out of Germany, leaving them, you know, dejected on the pitch. And while South Korea flying home with smiles on their face.
If you've managed to get Manuel Neuer flying up the pitch,
yeah, that was crazy.
Trying to be a midfielder, then you must have done a few things right.
Yeah. You typically don't see Germany in this hectic mind state of trying to, you know, hurry and get something done. Yeah. All right. Now, what about Iceland? Now, you predicted good, positive things for Iceland as well. They started off hot, and then kind of defrosted there towards the end. What's your take?
Yeah, you know, I went to Iceland to do those predictions, and, you know, when you're there, you just get so caught up in this kind of, like, unusual situation that they have of just having such a small population but having a good football team. You know, and the way that brings everyone together. And you really do get caught up with that, and you know how it is. Even as a neutral journalist, Chris, sometimes the heart rules ahead, and clearly that prediction did not go to plan.
Now, let's talk Group E, Oli. You predicted very well Brazil and Switzerland. Top of that group. Let's talk about that. Highlights, matches that stood out to you.
I think it was a moderately successful group stage for Brazil, but I think they'll be hoping to hit fresh heights after this. I think they'll be hoping that in the next round they can push on and give us the kind of performance that that squad is really capable of, because I think they can do better than they've done so far.
Okay, and the final standings ended the way you predicted.
They did, yeah. It's always nice.
So my question is, how much money did you win? You bet, right? Did you bet some money or what?
Chris, you know what? As soon as I put money on something, I jinx it. So I now only bet on my team's rivals.
Right, and you were right with the Spain and Portugal. This looked like that could end either way. But Spain.
Yeah, sure. And even after the game between the two, right? I mean, the 3-3 between Spain and Portugal, because a lot of people were billing that as the decider for who would finish top. And in the end, you couldn't separate them, thanks to, obviously, Ronaldo with his hat-trick.
Okay, well done, Ali, with the group stages. So now, clearly, it's time to head to the knockout, one hitter quitter, and you're done. All right, so we have on the board how it lines up so far. We want to start with the fast and ferocious offense of France, coming up with an Argentina side that hasn't had the cleanest form of Messi as of late. Who's your pick?
No, yeah, or the cleanest form in the team generally. I have to go for France. A bit like Brazil, they haven't quite hit the peaks that we expect of that squad. I said in the previews, in the predictions, that I think France is the best squad on paper in the world.
Yes, definitely.
And for that, only scoring 3 goals in the group stage, being involved in the only 0-0 that we've had so far at the tournament, that's disappointing for them. But I think they've got another gear to go up. Griezmann hasn't really performed yet, and if he can get his foot on the ball and start playing, then we could see France really have some fun. Argentina are just a madhouse, aren't they?
Yeah.
Watching them is crazy. Messi, obviously, if he can pull off another goal like he did against Nigeria, then anything can happen. But I look at the rest of the team, and I'm not sure the quality's there to beat a team like France.
I mean, there's ways you cross the finish line. They're like running on fumes right now. They're not full steam ahead right now. So what's your score? What's your score result of France-Argentina?
I'm going to go 3-1 to France.
Whoa. So I guess Mbappe is involved in one of those goals, right?
Oh, at least one.
All right, now we have the habitual biter. Luis Suarez versus Cristiano Ronaldo, the only man to score a hat trick versus Spain. Who will rise to the occasion in this match? This is a difficult matchup, I think.
This is a tricky one, yeah, definitely, and it's great though, isn't it? That we have France, Argentina, and Uruguay, Portugal already on the first day of the knockouts. Brilliant, top quality matches. It's a really tricky one. Portugal were pretty solid. Yeah, but Uruguay, they're the only team at the tournament that hasn't conceded a goal. And so that is what Ronaldo, Quaresma and co are up against. And I see them just edging this one.
Okay.
I think, Suarez is in decent form, scored a couple of goals already. Cavani got on the score sheet finally as well in the last game for them.
Right.
And just that stable defence with the likes of Godin and Jimenez. Uruguay are a tough nut to crack, and I think they'll be too tough for Portugal. I would say, I think it's going to be low scoring though. I would say that could be a 1-0.
And Brazil seems quite pleased. They won't have to deal with bratwurst and beer.
Alemanha já foi embora. Tchau, Alemanha.
I think obviously they've got an easier opponent than they were perhaps expecting. But at the same time, I feel like, Brazil, they wanted to get some revenge on Germany for the 7-1 at the last World Cup.
Right.
And now they're not going to have the chance to do that, not for another 4 years at least. So maybe there's a little disappointment in Brazil.
Yeah, or maybe Brazil wanted to see this particular German side, the way they've been performing. Maybe this would have been a blowout score. But Mexico, their opponent, what can we expect from Mexico? They do have speed, we saw that, but does it really compare to Brazil?
Nah, not really for me. I think they'll probably try and play a similar kind of game as to what they did against Germany, where they sit back a bit more and then play on the counter. But Brazil do have older centre backs. Their centre backs, I think, are the oldest partnership at the tournament. But I think Brazil have got too much quality for them.
Yeah,
they are playing at a much higher level than Germany did at this tournament, and they've got the stars to kind of crack the nut at the back.
Right.
To get the goal when it's looking difficult. So I think Brazil are going to come through this one. I would say 2-0.
2-0. All right, we have Belgium. They're up against Japan. How do you see this? Will Kevin De Bruyne and company dispose of Japan with ease?
Yeah, I think Belgium are a bit like France. They have, on paper, such a talented side, and it's just a matter of trying to get them to play as the sum of their parts. That was a problem at previous tournaments. I think this time it looks like they might have found the formula. I think the likes of Hazard and De Bruyne, as you say, Lukaku is absolutely banging the goals in. I think although Japan have impressed me, I think they should really dismantle Japan. And I go for a bigger score on this one. I'd say 3-0.
So we have Belgium. Okay, that brings us to what I would call a wash. Spain versus Russia. Will this be an opportunity for Russia to be brought back to life, back to reality in terms of where they are in world football?
Well, I'm really looking forward to this game because it's here in Moscow, and obviously being at a Russia game in Moscow in the knockout stage, like nobody thought they'd get this far before the tournament, least of all me. So it is a big opportunity for them, but I think it's just going to be too tough. I mean, we saw what happened when they finally had to play a good team in Uruguay. They really were not at the same level, basically. And I think it's going to be the same against Spain. I think Spain, not the biggest scorers so far, but I think they'll rack up a couple of goals in this one. And sadly for the host nation, for the locals here, I don't see their tournament going any further. I think this is going to be 2-0 to Spain.
And what was your Belgium score again?
3-0.
30. Now we have Croatia. Pretty tight defense, in this tournament, showing grit, led their group up against Denmark, an up-and-coming European club. How do you see this panning out?
Yeah, I think Croatia have been one of the most impressive teams at the tournament so far. Denmark, just the 2 goals in 3 games. Not so impressive on the attacking front, at least, although they do have Christian Eriksen. I don't think there's enough there to beat a Croatia team that just looks in flying form. Modric and Rakitic have really hit form at this tournament. Some of the other attackers too, like Rebic, with that great finish he had against Argentina. So I think Croatia look like the favourites for me in this one. I'd probably go with a 2-0.
2-0, okay. All right, and then we have Sweden versus Switzerland. Who would have knew?
I think this is the hardest one to call in the round of 16. I think this is a really even battle between these two teams. And yeah, Sweden, I did not expect them to get out of the group. Obviously, they profited there from Germany's poor form at the tournament. But Switzerland, they're a tough team to beat, as Brazil found out. They've got the Albanian force there with Xhaka and Shaqiri, Xhaka obviously pulling out a great goal from range, and Shaqiri with that brilliant finish late in the game against Serbia. It's such a tough one. I think Switzerland actually has the better team, but I think Sweden, after their successes in the group stage, I think they're just going to edge it. I think
really okay.
That the atmosphere in the squad, getting through the group stage when they weren't expected to, I think that might just drive them on, and I think they're just going to take this. But I think this is going to go all the way to penalties.
Sweden. So 0-0. 0-0.
Maybe 1-1. 1-1, and then penalties.
Okay, bang. So finally, we made it to the end. I'm sure this is the matchup Oli's really, geared up to talk about. We have James Rodriguez in Colombia versus, who would have known they'd be this loud with their roar, the Three Lions of England. How do you see this panning out, man?
I think this is another difficult one. I think this might be the closest matchup in the round of 16. Colombia have got that great flair with the likes of James, with Quintero as well, who really seems to have found his form at this tournament. Falcao, the great goal scorer too. But England, Harry Kane just absolutely banging in the goals.
Amazing, yeah.
And, a team that looks like it has a real sense of togetherness, which is often what has been lacking for England at major tournaments. It's a tough one to call. I think it will go to extra time, but the heart has to rule over the head again, Chris. I'm gonna go for 2-1 to England in extra time.
So good, so good.
All right, thanks for all of your input, Oli, and we'll talk to you soon, and hopefully you're right with what you call so far. See you, buddy.
Nice one, Chris. See you later.
So the question is, was Oli right about the quarterfinals? What do you think? How do you think this will pan out? And obviously the biggest question of them all is, which one of these teams will rise to the top and be crowned 2018 World Cup winner? Let us know in the comments below. See you next time.